Most people grow up believing that financial freedom is something reserved for a special kind of person. The lucky ones? The highly educated ones? The risk takers, the geniuses, the ones who got in early or had connections. And because of that belief, they silently accept a life of financial limitation without ever questioning whether the system they believe in is even true. But what if the biggest lie about money is that it's complicated? What if financial freedom is not about working harder, earning more degrees, or waiting for the perfect opportunity, but about understanding a few simple truths that most people ignore their entire lives? The reason financial freedom feels difficult is not because it is difficult. It is because most people are playing the wrong game with the wrong rules. They are chasing income instead of systems. They are trading time for money instead of building leverage. They are working for survival instead of designing freedom. And once you see this clearly, something changes. You stop asking, "Can I ever become financially free?" and start asking, "Why did no one teach me this sooner?" Financial freedom is not a distant dream. It is not a mystery locked behind elite knowledge. It is a structure, a pattern, a set of decisions repeated consistently over time. And once you understand those patterns, you realize something powerful. It was always easier than you thought. You were just looking at it the wrong way. The real problem is not income. It's structure. Most people assume that more money automatically solves financial problems, so they focus on increasing income. They chase higher salaries, side hustles, overtime, and promotions. And while earning more can help, it does not guarantee freedom. In fact, many high-income earners are more financially trapped than low-income earners. Why? Because financial freedom is not about how much you earn. It is about how your money behaves after you earn it. If your money disappears as fast as it arrives, you are not building wealth. You are maintaining a lifestyle. And lifestyle without structure is what keeps people stuck in cycles of dependence. True financial freedom begins when you introduce structure into your money flow. That means every unit of money you earn has a purpose before you even receive it. It is not left to emotions, impulses, or social pressure. Think of it like a river. Most people let their income flow freely and disappear into consumption. But financially, free people build channels. They direct where every drop goes before it even arrives. Some goes into growth, some into protection, some into opportunities that multiply it. This is where everything changes. Because once structure replaces emotion, consistency replaces chaos. And here is the part most people miss. You don't need a high income to build structure. You only need awareness and discipline. Someone earning modest income with strong structure will always outperform someone earning high income with no structure. That is why financial freedom feels difficult to most people. It is not an income problem. It is a system problem. Once you fix the system, the pressure to earn endlessly starts to fade. You begin to realize that financial stability is not about chasing more, but controlling what you already have. And that realization alone is the first step toward freedom. Time is more powerful than money, but most people use it wrong. If there is one resource that determines financial freedom more than anything else, it is not money. It is time. Yet most people treat time as if it has no financial value. They spend it reacting instead of building. They trade it for immediate rewards instead of long-term leverage. They live in cycles of urgency, constantly solving today's problems while ignoring tomorrow's possibilities. This is why financial freedom feels far away for most people. They are using their most powerful asset, time, on things that do not compound. Wealth is not created in moments. It is created in repetition. Small actions repeated over time that build invisible momentum. Think about it. Two people can start at the same point in life. One spends their time consuming entertainment, reacting to daily stress, and chasing quick money. The other spends even a small portion of their time building skills, learning financial principles, or creating systems that generate future value. At first, the difference is invisible. Nothing seems to change. But over time, the gap becomes undeniable. One person is stuck working harder just to maintain life. The other begins to experience freedom without working harder at all. That is the compounding effect of time. Financial freedom becomes easier when you stop trying to escape your current situation and start using your time to build something that grows beyond your daily effort. And this is where most people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom is the absence of work. But true financial freedom is the presence of leverage. Leverage is what allows your time to multiply. It could be skills, systems, assets, or ideas that continue producing results even when you are not actively working on them. Once you shift from trading time to building leverage, everything changes. You stop thinking in terms of hours and start thinking in terms of impact. You stop asking, "How much can I earn today?" and start asking, "What can I build today that will still be valuable tomorrow?" That shift alone makes financial freedom not only possible, but inevitable over time. Why most people stay stuck. The comfort trap. One of the biggest reasons financial freedom feels out of reach is not lack of opportunity. It is comfort disguised as stability. Many people are not truly stuck because they are failing. They are stuck because they are comfortable enough not to change, but not free enough to grow. This is the hidden trap of modern life. A regular paycheck creates the illusion of safety. Predictable expenses create the illusion of control, and routine creates the illusion of progress. But underneath all of it, nothing is actually changing. Comfort slowly replaces ambition, not in a dramatic way, but in small compromises repeated over time. You stop taking risks. You stop learning new skills. You stop questioning whether your current path is leading anywhere meaningful. And without realizing it, years pass. Financial freedom feels difficult because breaking out of comfort requires discomfort. It requires temporary uncertainty. It requires you to step away from what is familiar, even when it feels safe. But here is the truth most people never hear. Comfort has a hidden cost, and that cost is opportunity. Every year spent in comfort without growth is a year where your future freedom becomes more expensive to reach. This is why some people never escape financial struggle, not because they cannot, but because they do not want to risk what they already have. But financial freedom always requires a trade. You either trade short-term comfort for long-term independence, or you trade long-term independence for short-term comfort. There is no neutral position. Once you understand this, you begin to see your choices differently. Even small decisions become powerful. Choosing to learn instead of distract yourself. Choosing to build instead of consume. Choosing to act instead of wait. And slowly, you begin to break the invisible chains of comfort. That is when financial freedom stops being theoretical and starts becoming a direction your life is actually moving toward. Money flows to clarity, not confusion. Another reason financial freedom seems complicated is because most people have unclear financial direction. They want money, but they do not know what money is supposed to do for them. They want freedom, but they have not defined what freedom actually looks like. And when there is no clarity, money becomes chaotic. It gets spent in random directions. It gets wasted on emotional decisions. It gets lost in confusion rather than directed toward purpose. But money behaves differently when clarity is present. It begins to organize itself. It begins to flow in a direction that supports your goals instead of fighting them. Clarity is what transforms income into wealth. When you are clear about what you are building, whether it is financial independence, time freedom, or generational stability, your decisions become sharper. You stop spending on distractions that do not align with your direction. You start prioritizing actions that compound. Clarity also removes emotional decision-making. Instead of reacting to every opportunity, trend, or pressure, you evaluate everything through a simple lens. Does this move me closer or further from financial freedom? This simplicity is powerful. because complexity is what keeps most people stuck. They overthink, overanalyze, and overcomplicate decisions that should be straightforward. Financial freedom becomes easier when you stop trying to do everything and start focusing on what actually matters. And what actually matters is not endless income streams or complicated investments. It is consistent direction. It is clarity of purpose. It is knowing what you want and aligning your money with that vision. Once clarity is in place, even small financial actions become powerful. Because they are no longer random, they are intentional. And intentional money always grows differently from accidental money. Freedom is built in silence, not showcase. Perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of financial freedom is how it actually looks during the process. Most people expect wealth building to be visible, exciting, and fast-moving. But in reality, financial freedom is often built quietly, slowly, and invisibly. It is built in moments no one sees, decisions no one celebrates, sacrifices no one applauds. While others are showing off success, financially free people are often still in the building phase, choosing discipline over attention, systems over validation, and long-term growth over short-term recognition. This is where many people quit too early. They assume that because nothing visible is happening, nothing is working. But financial progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. The quiet phase is where foundations are built, habits are formed, systems are refined, and discipline is strengthened. And then, almost suddenly, results appear. Not because they happened overnight, but because they were built slowly over time. This is why financial freedom feels easier in hindsight. Because once the system works, it no longer feels like effort. It feels like momentum. And momentum is the final stage where freedom begins to feel natural instead of forced. At that point, money is no longer something you chase. It is something that flows from what you have already built. And you begin to realize something powerful. Financial freedom was never about luck, timing, or complexity. It was about alignment, structure, discipline, and clarity repeated long enough to compound. It was always simple, just not easy at first. Financial freedom is not reserved for a select few. It is not hidden behind secret knowledge or complicated strategies. It is built on principles that are simple to understand, but require consistency to apply. Structure your money instead of reacting to it. Use your time to build, not just survive. Break the comfort that keeps you stuck. Create clarity so your money knows where to go, and build quietly until momentum takes over. When you see it this way, financial freedom stops feeling like a distant goal and starts feeling like a process you are already inside of. And that is the truth most people miss. Financial freedom is easier than you think, not because it requires less effort, but because it requires less confusion. Once the confusion is gone, the path becomes clear. And once the path is clear, all that is left is to walk it.